Today, we're diving into the massive shifts in AI that are happening right now, completely under the radar. We're going to pull back the curtain on GPT-6, and trust me, it's a bigger deal than you think. Let's get right into it.
You know, this quote right here really says it all. Because if you think you've got a handle on the AI race, the reality is you're probably already falling behind. The entire landscape is changing faster than ever, and we're about to show you exactly why.
So get this. In just the last few weeks, the AI world has been completely turned on its head. Google quietly leapfrogged OpenAI in a really key area. OpenAI killed its viral video tool Sora and torched a billion-dollar Disney deal in the process. And a brand new secret model started training on a supercomputer so powerful it nearly broke the Texas power grid.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the death of Sora. Everyone saw the headlines, but the real story, the reason it got shut down, well, it wasn't creative differences, it was a financial black hole.
It really just boils down to this one number, $15 million. That's what it was costing OpenAI every single day just to run Sora. Think about that. Every single 10-second video clip cost them about $130 in pure computing power. With millions of people messing around with it, those costs just went through the roof.
And if you zoom out, that daily cost adds up to an annual burn rate of over $5.5 billion for one product. You know, for a company that's getting ready for an IPO, hemorrhaging that much cash on something that wasn't making money was a massive red flag for investors.
And this chart, wow, it really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? On the left, you've got that huge $5.5 billion cost. And on the right, that tiny little sliver is its total revenue, less than $1.5 million ever. It wasn't just losing money, it was a financial vortex.
And it wasn't just the money either. User growth was in an absolute freefall. I mean, look at this timeline. Downloads just plummeted at the end of 2025 and into early 2026. So Sora was losing money and users. By March, OpenAI really didn't have a choice. They had to pull the plug.
But the biggest casualty in all of this? Disney. They had this massive partnership cooking, including a $1 billion investment. But when OpenAI decided to kill Sora, they only told Disney about 30 minutes after they made the final decision. Disney was, understandably, furious. They pulled the plug on the whole deal and put out this scathing public statement. It was a classic corporate rug pull.
So what do you think happened to all that insane computing power that was running Sora? Well, it got redirected into OpenAI's next big project, GPT-6, codenamed Project Spud. And I'm telling you, this is so much more than just another chatbot upgrade.
GPT-6 is being built at this gigantic new facility in Texas called Stargate I. We're talking over 2 million of the most advanced AI chips from NVIDIA, all packed into a data center that pulls over 5 gigawatts of power. The energy demand is so insane, they actually had to spread the training across different locations just to avoid causing statewide blackouts.
But look, it's not just the sheer scale of GPT-6 that's a big deal. It's the fundamental way it works. There are 3 massive innovations here that set it apart from, well, pretty much everything that's come before it.
So the first big shift is in how it actually learns. See, older models were trained by just swallowing the entire internet and learning to predict the next word. GPT-6 uses something different, called reinforcement learning. To put it simply, it can actually think about a problem for longer, testing its own logic and refining it before it ever gives you an answer.
All right, next up is the context window, which is basically the AI's short-term memory. Just for comparison, GPT-4 had a context window of around 128,000 tokens. GPT-6 has a context window of 20 million tokens. The leap is just astronomical.
So what does a 20 million token window actually mean for you? Well, it's like being able to feed the AI 15,000 pages of text, all at once. You could give it an entire company's legal and financial history, and it would remember every single detail perfectly. No summaries, no information loss, just perfect recall.
The third, and honestly the most mind-blowing change, is something they're calling native world logic. Basically, older AI models were just really sophisticated text predictors. GPT-6 has been trained on actual simulations of the real world, so it doesn't just describe physics, it kind of understands them.
Here's a cool example. If you ask it to design a new wing for a drone, it won't just spit out existing designs. It'll actually run its own internal simulations of airflow and material stress, and it throws out the bad ideas before it ever shows you a final result. It's a much more deliberate, almost human-like way of reasoning, what experts call System 2 thinking.
But here's the crazy part. Just as OpenAI is making this monumental leap forward, they're actually losing their crown. Yeah, for the first time ever, a competitor has beaten them in a really crucial area of AI development. This chart right here shows the results from a key AI benchmark that tests pure reasoning ability. And as you can see, Google's latest model, Gemini 3.1 Pro, is now at the top of the pack. It scored higher than both GPT-5 and Claude 4.6. When it comes to raw intelligence, Google is the new king of the hill.
So the big takeaway here is that there's no longer one single AI to rule them all. Google's Gemini is now the smartest and, believe it or not, the cheapest at just $2 per million tokens. But Anthropic's Claude is still the go-to for creative writing and for developers who need really powerful tools.
And you can't forget the wildcards. Grok 4 is the best for real-time info, thanks to its direct tie-in to X. And there's a new AI called Kim K2 that's just unbeatable when it comes to web research. So the question is no longer which AI is best, it's now which AI is the best tool for this specific job.
Okay, so all of these wild developments are leading us to a fundamental change in how we're all going to interact with AI. Welcome to what people are calling the Agentic era, where the entire idea of writing prompts is about to become a thing of the past. So what does agentic even mean? It means we're shifting from prompting an AI to partnering with it. Instead of writing out super detailed instructions, you just give it a goal, and it figures out all the steps to get there on its own.
And this isn't science fiction. It's already happening in software development. You can have teams of AI agents working together. A planner agent breaks down the project, a coding agent writes the code, and then a reviewer agent checks for mistakes. They collaborate, they solve problems, and they only loop in a human for the final okay. And this is just the beginning.
And all of this brings us to the ultimate question. The real promise of GPT-6 isn't just a smarter chatbot. It's an AI that can be a true collaborator, something that innovates and works alongside you. The death of Sora was a necessary sacrifice to pave the way for this. So the real question we all have to start asking ourselves is this. When this technology really arrives, is it going to be your partner or your replacement?